We're going to look at a query originally raised by Richard O'Hearn on the Google Sheets community. The query relates to summarizing quantities, unit costs and totals by category. So there are two approaches to this. Approach one is solving this via formulas, and approach two is solving this via pivot tables. The query relates to this. We want to summarize sample table by category number and totaling the quantities for each category, the unit cost for each category, and the aggregated total. The manufacturer details are here, but they're superfluous to this particular query. So the first task by formula is to summarize by category. So I have my mirror table here ready to set up with the headers. The catalog number, summarizing by catalog number, is achieved by using the unique formula. So type in equals unique, and unique looks for a range, and I'm going to type in data exclamation mark, which is just the sheet name, B2 colon B17, or I could just leave that to colon B in case the column grows, close bracket and press return, and it returns X, Z, W, T, U and V. And if I go back to the original table on the data sheet, that is the list of unique catalog numbers from that column, from column B on the data sheet. So I've solved the first part of the query. Now I want to aggregate the quantities for each category number, and I'm going to use the SUMIF formula for that. Type in equals SUMIF, open bracket, and this takes in three parameters. It takes in a range, the criteria to use, and the range to be summed. So the first range is on the data sheet, and it is this range here, the category numbers, then comma for the second range, which is the criteria, and that's equal to the value B2, comma, and the range to sum is back in the data sheet, and it's this range here, A2 to A17, and close bracket. Press return, and it gives me a number of 12. Well, let's go look back and see if that number 12 is correct. So everywhere we have X, so we have 1 there, and another X there, and we have 10 there, so that's 11, and we go down and we have 1 here, and that's 12. So the formula is working correctly. But just to go through the formula again, the first one is saying summarize everything from the data sheet that's in column B2 to B17, and if the value from B2 on this current sheet is found anywhere in this B2 to B17 range, then sum up the numbers that are in the range A2 to A17. So in English that means, in this instance, look for X in this range B2 to B17, and everywhere you find X, go to the column corresponding cell in column A and add up the numbers. Press return and fill down. Now the next thing we want to do is bring through the unit costs. Now the unit costs will be the same for each category number. So all we have to do is use a Vlookup to look for X in the data sheet on column B, and everywhere it finds X, then return the unit cost, which is in column D. So formula is this, equals Vlookup. So look for this search value and go to the data sheet, and it's arranged B2 to D17, comma 0, press return, and it returns a unit cost of 10. Just check if that's correct, and indeed, yes, if the catalog number is X, the unit cost is 10. And if I fill down, the catalog number is Z, the unit cost is 20. Go back to the sheet, Z, and the unit cost is 20. So how this works is, so the lookup value is B2, so it's looking up for X in the range on the data sheet B2 to B17, D17 I should say, on the date, so that's from here down to here. So wherever it finds X, it returns the corresponding value from the third column. This is column 1, this is column 2, this is column 3. So that's what the 3 signifies. And the 0 signifies that if it doesn't find X in this range, don't return anything, or return #NA. And then calculating the total is very straightforward. It is simply A2 asterisk C2. And that's it. That's sorting out this particular problem using formulas. The second challenge is to sort out the same problem using pivot tables. So on my original data sheet, if I click on data and pivot table report, I'm brought to a new blank pivot table. Where you need to look is on the report editor on the right hand column. So a pivot table is made up of rows, columns, values and also filter if you want one. The rows are set up on the left hand margin, the columns are set up on the top margin, and the values are put in the main area here. So the rows are what we want to summarize by. So if I click by rows and click on add field, we want to summarize by category, catalog number. If I click on catalog number, we're starting to build our pivot table. We have T, U, V, W, X and Z, which are our individual categories. And then the second one we want to populate are the values. And we click on cost, so click on quantity, and then click on add field again, click on the unit cost, and then finally click on total. And there we are. Actually, in this instance, we don't actually need to have the unit cost. We could actually get rid of that because I just leave the quantity and the summary total. And there we have the problem solved via pivot tables. Thank you very much for watching.